you believe that we started
and
recording
welcome to
right
Cage
in the middle of
Fighting, my man.
2020
And delighted to hear
with all of the
everybody's keeping
COVID
well
and
in the
lockdowns
world
going
right
on
now.
around us, unable to
Everyone,
meet
welcome
up.
back.
So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the
2 week
internet
break
for
is
our
rare.
entertainment.
Has it even happened before?
Tried to find a
Probably
place
last year.
where we could
I
meet
don't know.
up and talk about the good, the
it-
bad,
it
and that
feels
time
like
that
forever
Stu saw a
doing
pelican
this.
on the canal.
It does feel like it's been a
In
while,
order to
doesn't it?
facilitate our dreams
for
of
context,
answering all of the
Andy's
big
wearing
questions in
dungarees
film,
with-
and after
but
a few
proper
attempts at
dungarees
recording
with
via
little
other
buttons
methods to various
and the
levels
little
of
brass
success,
things that you
we
clip
found
onto.
Zencastr,
Like
They
he's
pop
like
off.
a super easy web-based
exactly.
one-stop
It's
shop
his
for
pocket money, don't
recording.
it?
Log in
In a
and
white
you're ready to
t-shirt
record in a
underneath.
matter of
Like
seconds.
something that you put.
It doesn't
like
take a tech
2-year-old
genius to get high-quality audio or video.
It's
And
not
on top
quite
of that,
like
the one time we have
child
had an issue,
dungarees,
the
but,
fact
like,
that
they
the
are short
multi-layered
dungarees.
backups are stored locally
So,
means
yeah.
it's easily fixed
Because
all
I
in
said before,
browser.
I was so tempted to
There are
like
plenty
not
of
wear
tools
a
you need when you
t-shirt
start
underneath it and come
podcasting.
on.
So let
So I
Zencastr
just to
take
see
that
your
headache
fucking
away
reaction
as
as
it
I
offers
sat
a
here like
place
a
to
proper
record,
redneck.
edit
That
and
really would have made me
distribute
laugh.
all from one
I know we're talking
website.
about films that are less than
Any
90
lazy
minutes
bones
long,
Joes
and
can pick up
Texas
and play
Chainsaw
and have
Massacre is
studio quality
1973,
audio
so would
or
count.
4K video
But
put
this
out for
is
the
taking
world
it
to
way
see
too far.
when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code
This is going to be
CAGEFIGHTING
sub
and
90
you'll
minute
get 30%
films
off your
from
first month of any
2000.
Zencastr paid
Next week
plan.
we'll be doing
We want you
sub
to have the
90
same
minutes
easy
from
experiences we
2020
do for all our
Should we do
podcasting
2020
and content
sorry,
needs.
from 2000 to 2020.
It's time to share your
2025,
story.
do you think?
And
So
now,
you get a 20-year block.
hit the
or what?
music.
I mean, are we going to be doing this in 15 years' time to catch up? Probably. But
Probably, yeah.
we can always go over our old ground if the last 5 years has been. So, yeah, I mean, you can bring it up to modern day next week if you want. But it was hard. Well, narrowing it down was harder than I thought it would be. And there was some films on the air that were 90 minutes, which really pissed me off. So I thought, oh no.
I think if it hits 90, you could probably get away with it.
That was not the rule. That was not the rule. You said sub 90 minutes, so I cut them out. I cut them all out.
See, I think 90 and below you can get away. I mean, I don't think any of mine do, in fairness, but I think you could get away. If it's 91, then no, that's completely against everything. Because I obviously wanted Little Shop of Horrors in there, and then I found out it's 93 minutes long. So I was fucking wounded. Like, that's one of the whole points of doing this podcast, was for me to talk about Little Shop. I can't even do that. Like, the genesis of it came because I watched Companion. Have you seen Companion yet, Stu? The Jack Quaid film with...
Oh, no, the one you said. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that had been on my list a while, and I got around to watching it, and I thought it's a really good film. And, like, I know we've spoke about films should be as long as they need to be to tell the story. But at the same time, you can't beat a good 90-minute movie. Like, something that just gets in, tells you the story, and fucks off, all in the space of, like, 2 episodes of hour-long TV. Like, I think that's... I think when you go to the cinema, sometimes you just want that palate cleanser, and that's what a 90-minute film is for me. It's just a palate cleanser.
Yeah. And a lot of these know what they are as well, and they don't outstay their welcome. And the one that annoyed me especially it's for next week more than this, but Pig being 92 minutes was very annoying.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, maybe we can squeeze that in an honourable mention because he's close, but not quite. But yeah, that was disappointing. That was so close to it, but yeah, never mind. Right, so normally we do top 5 favourites. I've gone slightly different. These are all films that I love, but these are going to be films that I think more people should see. So mine are a bit of a blind recommendation almost to a lot of them. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Stu, on some of these films as we go through, but I don't think any of these are massively popular movies. I think at best, some of them are probably cult classics. So let me know if you think I'm right or wrong with these. But my first film on the list is a 1984 film. Oh, yeah, I've also gone in chronological order. So these aren't particularly 5 to 1. These are just, as they were released, this is the film of that year. So the first film on my list from 1984, and it is a film called Top Secret. It's a parody of World War II films and those rockabilly Elvis movies from back in the day. Val Kilmer plays this Beach Boys / Elvis Presley style musician who is sent to a festival in Germany during the war. Like, it's not a good film. Narratively, it is a mess. It is all over the place. It was originally 2 hours long and it got cut down to 90 minutes after being reviewed by people. So like you can kind of feel that when you're watching the film, that it's a bit all over the place. But like the jokes per minute are high in this movie. Like it is gag after gag. And you can tell because it's from Abrams and Zuckers, who did Airplane and Naked Gun films and the few good scary movies. Like they're people who know comedy, like how to tell a joke, even if the rest of the film's not great. Like there's one of the jokes in the film that always makes me laugh is the musician's agent says to him, "We're in Germany now. We need to behave and we need to like follow their lead." And Val Kilmer's character says, "I've been learning the language. Wann wird dein Tochter außen?" And that means when does your daughter turn 18? And I was just like, that's one of the first jokes in it. When he's on the train and he's painting the scenery, it then cuts to what he's painting and it's all blurred because he's looking out the window as everything is whipping by. Like it's really silly. But it's such a good, funny film that I think because with the Zuckers, you always think of Airplane. So Top Secret, I think, falls by the wayside. But it's a really good performance from Val Kilmer, and there's a lot of jokes that some land, some don't, but I appreciate the effort, if nothing else.
Yeah, this sounds like something I've seen. So when was this?
84.
84. Oh my grief. Yeah, I mean, there's a cow on the poster. It sounds like something I've probably seen a long time ago, like parody slapstick comedy. Yeah, it's exactly my bag, and we'll get to that later. We mind, but yeah, I'll screen grab for later. That one, that sounds class.
It's on MB. Like, yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's very much your cup of tea, I think, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, my number 5 is obviously both of our cup of teas. It's South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, because I mean the fact that Uncle Fucker got in the charts, and whenever I remember back to this, I always think, yeah, this must have been like 3 or 4 years in, but it really wasn't at all. It was like, yeah, they doubled down as soon as humanly possible. And the fact that it looks, they've got a bit of fire. That's all that's different, really.
Yeah.
And they can swear more than they can on telly. And being South Park from day one, when it was on Sky One and everything like that, seeing this I mean, was it a 15? Because I can't imagine us being allowed into an 18 at that, even in the 90s at that point.
I believe it was. Let's have a look on the BFI. Right. South Park BFI. Only 81 minutes as well. That is incredible. Yeah, 15. 15. Yeah. Past 15 for frequent coarse language and crude sexual references. The scene where Saddam pulls out that fucking giant dildo and waves it at Satan. Like, I remember watching that back in 99 at the cinema and just absolutely fucking crazy. Like, it is pure oil and it's childish, but it's... let's just say, being South Park from day one, it was perfect. It was exactly what you wanted from South Park because it was bigger, longer, and uncut. It was exactly what it said on the tin, and it worked perfectly. I remember we had a day off. Actually, I can't remember if it might have been just before we were going to college, and it was like our last day of freedom, and we was meeting our friend at midday. So we got down there early, me and my other mate, and we thought, well, we've got a couple of hours to kill, so let's just go and watch South Park. So we watched South Park, came out, met our friend, and then went back and watched South Park again. So we watched it like literally back to back on the same day. Uncle Fucker is like, before when we spoke about some of the funniest moments and how I remember saying about how Borat, the fight scene in the first Borat, I remember like fucking wheezing through that because I was laughing so much. Uncle Fucker, I think, is another one of my great cinematic moments because you just don't expect it, because we were so used to South Park going right up to the line, but obviously they never crossed it with shit and fuck and certain swear words. So the first time you heard Uncle Fucker, and then it turns out to be a song, it was just like, this is just outstanding. This is just the best.
I mean, the whole thing, I had the whole that was one of the very few film soundtracks that I had. I mean, I blame Canada and all the rest of.
I've still got it. I've still got that. Excellent.
So I had my Chef Aid one, and the Chef Aid one broke. Like it was the only CD that I know of mine that burnt out. Jesus, from being overplayed, it just wouldn't work anymore. It wasn't even scratched; it just wouldn't play.
It just died.
Yeah, it just gave up. But yeah, South Park. To go from what was a pretty niche at the time cartoon on an obscure network in America, let alone here, to then bring out a feature film to then take over the world like it did with the N64 game and then everything else, and to be so short as well. Like I bought that on VHS. It was one of the last ones before DVD reigned supreme at the time, and that video got played over and over again. And I was because there was a few of these that I thought I know they're short films, and like we said, like with Pig, I got caught out. There was a few times, but seeing this on a list of them on IMDb, I was shocked because I was convinced it was like hour and 40. I don't know why. I've seen it like so many times, and it never even crossed my mind that it was sub 90 at all.
I'm sure it was Oscar nominated as well. You know, I'm sure Blame Canada was nominated for the for best song. Yeah, nominated for 1 Oscar for Blame Canada, and Robin Williams performed on behalf of the guys for Blame Canada at the Oscars. So, yeah, outstanding movie. Right, okay. My number 4 is a film called The Monster Squad from 1987. I remember being a child in the 80s, growing up, watching this film a ridiculous number of times. It was directed by Fred Decker. It's not a name you may recognise, but when I tell you the films that he's done, you will. Night of the Creeps, RoboCop 3, The Predator. He worked on Demolition Man, Lethal Weapon 4. He was one of the showrunners for the original Tales of the Crypt, and it was co-written by Shane Black. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Long Kiss Goodnight, The Nice Guys. Like, this film has got a pedigree that it probably doesn't deserve. It's a love letter to the universal monsters like Wolfman, Mummy, the Gill Man, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. They're trying to find an amulet so that they can control the earth, and the only thing that can stop them is a group of 10 to 12-year-old lads called the Monster Squad. They just grew up watching classic horror films. Like, it's a kid's fantasy movie come to life. It's funny and it's quite action-packed. Like, I think for the type of film that it is, because it is pitched at a younger audience, there's quite a lot in it. I think more people needed to have seen this movie, and this is probably one of those films that got me into watching horror movies, because it was like one of the early representations of like Dracula and Frankenstein and werewolves and stuff like that. And it's got one of my favourite lines in cinema history. The Wolfman's got nards, because 2 of the kids got cornered by the Wolfman, and they obviously didn't have silver bullets to kill him to escape. So one of them just kicks him in the balls, and he proclaims, "Wolfman's got nards," and then they run off. Just silly fun again. But like I say, it's got a real pedigree to this film that you wouldn't particularly expect from a late 80s kind of schlocky horror cum comedy nonsense, predominantly aimed at a younger audience. Another really good film that clocks in under 90 minutes and is well worth a watch.
Yeah, looking at the cast of this, I don't know anyone on here.
No one really went on to do anything other than to say Fred Decker and Fred Decker and Shane Black.
Oh, there he was Kane in RoboCop 2. That's I know him. And Tom Noonan. That's easy.
Yeah.
Tom Noonan.
Yeah, it's kind of been relegated. I feel like it's probably the kind of thing you might find in a Pound DVD bin type of thing. But it's great fun. Like, it's sitting on a 6.9 on IMDb. It's it's another one, Stu, that I think would be right up your alley.
Yeah, probably. Like a lot of these, like watching Corridor Crew and stuff. Some of the things that they're mentioning there, like there was one with Rob Schneider one, where a helicopter film. Never heard of it before, from the 80s.
I didn't realise Rob Schneider had been going that long, to be honest.
Not Rob Schneider. The guy from...
Are you about Roy Schneider from
Roy
Jaws?
Schneider, yes. Yeah. I'm going to say Rob Schneider.
That's Jude Bigelow.
Yeah. When he was only like 20 in Home Alone 2, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, Roy Schneider in this helicopter film, and they were showing like there was a whole thing about how they had an RC helicopter modelled off the one that they were using in the film, and they built a bigature to scale of the remote helicopter just for this one scene. So they built a proper tower block just to blow it up in scale of this remote control helicopter. It was incredible. But things like that I've never heard of, like Videodrome and stuff like that kind of era. All these like video nasties, but they weren't really nasty, they were just weird.
Yeah.
Like straight to VHS films from the 80s but still, he's in 2025, you're still unearthing them.
Some excellent stuff out there, to be fair.
You go from that, I mean, my number 4 was the first one I remember because I knew that it was short. And you have got people who you would know in this, in Stand By Me, which is a strange film for me to select, I know. There's a coming and out of age drama and that kind of thing, and the 50s setting, and it's not my kind of bombastic film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great. I remember watching this. I probably watched this at uni, so I was old enough to appreciate it properly, and not watching it as a kid. And then the whole thing with River Phoenix and him being like the prodigy and all this stuff, and all taken too soon. Yeah, he probably was actually. He was class in what I mean. When Kiefer Sutherland was in 24, I knew him from this. That's the only thing I'd ever seen him in before.
Oh right, okay.
Like the Lost Boys. I hadn't seen the Lost Boys at that point. When 24 came out, I might have done, but I could maybe as a kid, like The Fly or something like that. But I didn't remember him from the Lost Boys. I knew him from Stand By Me. Even though he's not like the star in that film, but yeah, there's just something about Stand By Me that, like we say on here over and over again, that sometimes there's films that you say, oh yeah, what's a Stu film? And then I'll come out with it, and you can, that's not the kind of thing you watch out of choice. You do this for this podcast. Again, we'll come to that in about an hour's time. But yeah, I really like this film. I haven't seen it for a long, long time, so I might be going on memory and nostalgia and whatever. But I think Stand By Me was one of the first films I thought, yeah, actually, this is something special here.
I feel like Stand By Me is one of my first favourite films. Like I remember being, at school, and Stand By Me was just like a masterpiece. And don't get me wrong, I think, as we've grown, we've seen other stuff, and it changes and morphs and that. But Stand By Me has always been an absolute classic, I think. And you are right, when you look at the names, just like the first few listed names, Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, Kiefer Sutherland, all of those went on to leave a legacy. Obviously, River Phoenix, unfortunately, the legacy is not a particularly positive one, but he's a name that people know of. All those people have left their mark on that world, and it's excellent. Obviously, it's a Stephen King novella, I believe. I haven't actually read the book, but it doesn't feel like, if you said Stephen King, you're thinking of The Shining and horror and it, and you're not thinking of Stand By Me. Wonderful film, absolutely wonderful, kind of uplifting and a little bit melancholy at the end, which I think most of the best films have, that element of just sadness underneath, especially when you're looking at stuff which is about nostalgia like that is. Wonderful movie, absolutely wonderful.
And it's weird that film is probably closer to its actual setting than we are to that film being released.
Fuck. The film was released in 1986 and it's mid-50s. setting. So 30 years.
Here we are.
And we're 39 years. Oh, Jesus. So yeah, this would be like us making a movie now about 1994. Shit. Oh, that's crazy. Incredible. Right, number 3 on my list is from 1998, and it is a film called Following. Now, on the face of it, Stu, Following very much sounds like an Andre kind of a movie. It is a 70-minute black and white movie. It's a British movie starring actors who are only known for this movie. But the reason that is on my list and why it is deserving of recognition, because it's a very good movie in its own right, but it's the directorial debut of one Sir Christopher Edward Nolan. It is a film which follows a young unemployed man who befriends Cobb, who is a criminal burglar, to gain inspiration for his next novel. The young man falls in love then with this woman who he and Cobb had burgled previously. Things then go off the rails when the writer finds out that the woman is the former lover of a local mobster who is blackmailing her with photographs. Like, it's a really good introduction to Christopher Nolan's work. Like, you can see a lot of the themes in this, which he then goes on to explore in later works. Like, it's a very important film because it's the first time we see something from a director who, in my opinion, has pretty much defined 21st century cinema. And again, like, I think most people jumped on him with Insomnia. No, maybe Memento might have been the first one. But yeah, I think Memento probably would be before Insomnia. But for the roots, like, Following is a really good place to start. Especially, like I say, it's 70 minutes, so you get a taste, and then you can follow through to the rest of his work. It's a gem of a movie that is underseen.
Insomnia and this are the only two I haven't seen.
Insomnia's good. You'd like that.
Of all of his stuff. Isn't Leo's character called Cobb?
Yeah. So I believe that was potentially an inspiration, maybe a call. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's there's a lot of duplicity and duplicity is probably the best word to put it, I think, which obviously we see quite a lot. Like a lot of his characters go on and they have dual sides to them. We see quite a lot, like say in Memento, obviously we have the man who only knows the last hour of his life pretty much, and you've got stuff like in Insomnia, how it's that the duality that within, I think, that he explores, and that's something that they look at within Following. So I do think you see the early seeds of what he likes to then go on and do. Prestige, again, that's another one which is very much about the duality of man, quite literally in that case.
Is there anyone in here in Following that's in the Nolan verse?
No. When I looked at the names on it, everyone said known for Following. So I don't think anyone went on to do anything else after this movie, which is quite interesting. So I wonder if they're just his mates or something like that. I wonder if they're not particularly known actors. Just gonna have a quick look. Right. Jeremy Theobald, Alex Hoare, Lucy Russell, John Nolan. I'm guessing that might be related.
And Jonathan,
Dick,
his brother.
No, it's John. He looks like an older man, so I wonder if he might be a dad rather than Jonathan. So there's only 4 people who've got pictures on IMDb, which is Jeremy Theobald, Lucy Russell, Dick Bradshaw, and John Nolan. Okay. So apparently Theobald has been in a couple of other films of his, but he's played the steward and younger Gotham waterboard technician. Batman Begins. Like, he's never been featured by the looks of it in any other of his films. He's done bits, but like not much.
That's good though. If he's giving people from the very start just little cameos.
So Lucy Russell is in June Prophecy. I'm never going to try and pronounce that. She's a truth sayer. Shibang Bala. I've not watched it, so I don't know. Like, she's done bits here and there again, it looks like. Uncle is John. Yeah. It's the paternal uncle of filmmakers Christopher and Jonathan. And again, he's done bit parts. He was the blind man in Dunkirk, Fredericks in Dark Knight Rises. Just, again, bit parts by the looks of it. And Dick Bradshaw. He's the bald guy in Following, and he was in Number 73, whatever the fuck that is. Oh, he's got a picture on it, but like he's done nothing else. I'm kind of surprised he's got a picture on IMDb. Yeah. So no, not really anyone who's made like a wider impact outside of this film, but it does look like he has kept some of these people close to him, in at least in limited roles. But being in a Chris Nolan film is fucking good work if you can get it, I imagine.
And speaking of June again, is this the best ever minifig of anyone? This one of Jason Momoa from
the man bun on top of it is outstanding, to be fair.
I've never seen that hair before on anyone else.
Not on a no, that's incredible. That's an excellent piece. I bought Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons, because I bought the Krusty Burger set. So I'll be next time I've got like a week off, I'm going to try and build that. I think that's the plan. I just got to buy Lego, getting fucking obsessed with it, which is not healthy.
That Nigel Mansell Williams took me 4.5 hours yesterday, so not bad.
How much was that then, if you don't mind me asking?
It was reduced down to 50.
Excellent.
It
50 quid for like nearly 5 hours worth of fun.
Exactly.
That's the perfect fucking Lego, that is.
And it came out at 70, and the Senna one was 50 when I bought it. And so it came out in February at $69.99. And it was down to $49.99 in the spring sale. So I just got it, and I thought, well, I'll just keep it for an empty weekend. And obviously there was no football yesterday, was there? So until into Miami at 1 o'clock this morning. I stayed up to watch the opening ceremony in the first 10 minutes. I thought, yeah. I did watch the first. I watched the whole game back, not knowing the score though, and it was 0-0.
God.
But yeah, it was again. It was like the center one. It was quality. So there's other than the Suki car from Fast and it's Tokyo Drift, isn't it? Or is it too?
No, it's Too Fast.
It's Too Fast, Too
Furious.
Yeah, which is out of stock, incredibly. So I'll have to wait for that to be back in stock because it's got a space on the shelf. And now that the awful Batmobile it's oversized, so it's not minifig size like the other ones. So it's some kind of weird bastardization that it's not quite.
So it's not the big one, and it's not the small one.
Yeah. So it's a bit like how so it's not like the Lego F1 cars are. There's minifig size, and the Mansell one's a display piece.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them big fuck off ones at like 300 quid. It's none of them sizes. It's its own like little things, like 1.5 scale. So it's completely pointless.
It's made me want to get it though, I'll be honest, Stu. I do have too many with Batman things.
90 quid.
Dear do. Tis a dear do.
And that's going to be 2.5 hours.
That's the problem, isn't it now, is that they know how to, like any license with its DC, Marvel, the Marvel stuff's atrocious for the prices. Star Wars is obviously the same way. That Rebrickable website that I showed you, the one where they do all of the stuff that people have built, excellent for stuff like that, where you get that. A bit of a difference with it.
I had an old thing of a Blast from the Past yesterday as well. After I'd done that one, Corey had one of them Puzz 3D cardboard, like reinforced cardboard things. Which I hadn't done one of them for years. Of Titanic.
I've seen them forever. Fucking hell.
So I did that, and it says on the box 2 hours, hour and 15, professional.
That's it. Showed it how it's done.
Yeah, it's good as well. But I can't not get involved in Puzz 3D cardboard building blocks anymore. There's no space left. Lego and
you You can't keep starting new fucking hobbies to collect.
Yeah, Lego and fake Lego is bad enough. Oh,
Yeah.
it's creating more space to put stuff on.
That's it. Like, I need more shelves just for shit. It's ridiculous. Right. Your number 3, Stu.
Yeah, what's not shit, and has already been mentioned, kind of. Just don't come with Shirley. This could have been any of them. It could have been Airplane 2, any of the Naked Gun, any of Police Squad. That whole universe is just superb. But Airplane being less than 90 minutes, which is exactly what it needs to be. We mentioned it a few months ago. For whatever reason, it's just an absolute masterpiece. It's stupid. It knows it's stupid. Everyone's in on the jokes. It might not be politically correct, but who cares? It's just wonderful fun. And if you watch that film and you can't come away with a smile on your face, you're dead inside, because it's a masterpiece of not just comedy, just timing, and I think it's the fact that everyone plays it straight as well. Oh,
Yeah. That it helps it, doesn't it? I think
it wouldn't
makes
work.
it so much funnier. No, it wouldn't. If they were laughing along to it, it would kind of shit over what they were doing, wouldn't it? So yeah, it's comedy perfection.
I've never seen any outtakes from it. I mean, it's probably too early for that to even exist because of the cost of film and everything like that. But you can't imagine that some of the stuff that's going on there, and the blow up co-pilot and stuff like that, where they're cutting the camera and everyone's not bursting out laughing every single time.
Yeah, like you've got to think it must be impossible to have been on that set and not corpsed at least once at some of the stuff that's going on. But I think it's on Leslie Nielsen, isn't it? I think it's incredible because he's like a proper Shakespearean trained actor. Like you could put him in any kind of film and he would have been like one of the best things on the movie. So for him to have turned that into giving some of the best comedy performances that have ever been given in anything, and like I said, not just in Airplane, but the Naked Gun. I think all 3 Naked Gun films clock in under 90 minutes as well. So again, like you're right, you can throw them in with this because they are just some of the funniest shit you've ever seen.
Which is why I have got hope for the new one, because again, Liam Neeson is a proper actor who's just took this sideways thing into being an action star in his later life for some mad reason.
Weird how that worked out. You are right. I think him being cut from a similar cloth.
Yeah.
But you are right. He was a serious actor who can do comedy as well. It does make me think that it's probably going to be at least okay, if nothing else.
I mean,
and to be fair, like Paul Waterhouse's in it. I like him. Kevin Durant, I'm a big fan of his. Danny Houston, always decent in these movies. I mean, fuck Cody Rhodes, but it's a decent looking cast. Akiva Schaffer being the director. I'm a big fan of The Lonely Island. That'll get mentioned next week. There's enough here to make me quite excited for the new one.
I mean, last time I was there for Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning at the cinema, and they showed the trailer for the new Naked Gun, and there was people there who clearly hadn't seen it before.
Yeah,
the OJ moment, people were screaming, and I expected other people to like murmur and stuff because everyone's seen it now. But again, we're in this bubble of being constantly online and we know everything all the time. And yet you forget the normal people who go to the cinema, they see trailers in the cinema for the first time. And like, there were hells. It wasn't even like it was full either. It wasn't like opening night live or anything like that. It was a standard. It was on the Friday after the Friday it came out. And people were howling, like crying with laughter. Just that the one look of a photo on a wall. You think, yeah, they've got people. It's going to work.
It is. I have a feeling this could be a Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, like it's got the nostalgia to pull people back, And if the jokes are of that level anyway, you're going to pull in new people too. I've kind of low key got some hopes for this film, and I hope it does well for the people involved that I really have a lot of time for.
I think
it's quite exciting.
It's probably they probably let it just long enough. I think you give this, if you go back 2 years, 3 years, you're in a bit of a different environment where people are still a bit. Wasn't going to say the wrong thing, where they know people still give a fuck, and they just it's better do what you want. On the whole,
yeah, it does feel like PC feels like it's eased off quite a bit. I mean, there's still areas I think where people probably go overboard, like the whole recent Sabrina Carpenter thing with her new album cover. People are being fucking stupid over that. Like it clearly is implying one thing, and everyone is talking about rape culture and stuff. And the fuck are you on about, you idiot? It's ridiculous.
That was very much an online only thing, though. Again,
I think, yeah, very much so.
I mean, I asked Annabelle about it, and she said, "Oh, yeah, Sabrina Carpenter," and she'd seen it on Facebook and whatever, and they talked about a new album on the radio. No one had mentioned that on there. No. So she comes back, and people like us who are on Twitter all the time, and usually the maniacs on there talking about the bollocks that they do. I mean, she's obviously these people obviously haven't listened to her or paid any attention to any of the stuff that she's done over the last 3 or 4 years, where she takes the piss out of everything all the time.
Yeah.
They just don't get it.
Yeah. Like her whole shtick is kind of like on a real life Betty Boop.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm sexy, I'm going to take the piss and talk about sexy stuff. And that's a whole gimmick.
Yeah.
But yeah, people just... They can't look at her and not see a fucking former Disney actor. Like she's not some near 30-year-old woman at this point. It's fucking mental. Like of all the shit that we've witnessed on Twitter, the closest I've come to quitting it was seeing people talk about Sabrina Carpenter. Like, this is just stupid. This is just insane. Is this where we've come to with this world? Unreal. I've got completely sidetracked there. Number 2, right. A Room for Romeo Brass. So after watching... This will get better. Right. So after watching Sinners, me and Ash spoke about a potential future top 5 where we could talk about film partnerships. One of my favourite film partnerships began in this movie, and that is between Paddy Considine and Shane Meadows. It's the first film in which them pair worked together. It's ostensibly a Meadows film. Like, if you like anything Shane Meadows, you will know that it's gritty, real world, set in the East Midlands, and that's what A Room for Romeo Brass is. It is about 2 young lads, Gavin and Romeo Brass, who weirdly befriend a young 20-something erratic, violent Paddy Considine who plays Morel. The 2 boys' relationship becomes quite strained because Morel becomes more central in Romeo's life. It's tense, like it sets your teeth on edge in parts. It's a forebear to like the more widely known Dead Man's Shoes. And like a lot of Meadows films, like you've got Bob Hoskins is in this film as well as a couple of his others. Vicky McClure, Considine. Andrew Shim is Romeo Brass, who you'll know as Milky in This Is England. This is quintessential Shane Meadows and Paddy Considine. And yeah, big fan of A Room for Romeo Brass. And again, people will know Dead Man's Shoes, but they won't know Romeo Brass. And I feel like they're a perfect double header.
Is this a film 4 thing?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah, looking at it on IMDb here, it feels like I've seen this before. And I don't think this is just a brain thing. I think it's probably because every time it's been on Film 4, like you flick through and it's on Film 4, it's probably on there.
Yeah, quite possibly. And even if you haven't seen it, if you've seen a Shane Meadows film, you've seen a portion of it. Like, Shane Meadows is an auteur, and this is very much part of his authorship. Again, Stu, this is another film I think if you haven't seen it, you must, because it's it's got bollocks to it, and I like that.
I reckon looking at it, I recognise it. I just didn't know that name.
It's a bit of an odd one, isn't it? For Romeo Brass, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because it like the look he gave me when I said it, like I get it because it doesn't sound like the title of a movie. In fairness,
It's like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Like,
yeah.
I know I've seen that film. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
No,
Probably
I know
the
what you mean.
best.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, great movie. A big fan. Do you like Chain Meadows' stuff, like Dead Man Shoes? You've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that, surely.
Yeah, quality. This is England and the first spin-off. I never saw any more than that.
Yeah, was it This is England? Was it 84, 86 and 88, was it? Or something like that?
I didn't. Was it? Did he go up to?
Did it mean, or maybe it was 4-year periods. I never saw the TV shows, in fairness. I don't know why, but never got round to watching them.
Yeah, I saw the first 2 series.
86, 88 and 90.
Yeah, 90 is the one I haven't seen then.
Right. Yeah,
Don't know
what I
what.
want to do, because, I mean, he's Graham in all of them, to be fair. Big fan of Stephen Graham. I don't know if he is. But yeah, that's something that's been on my list for a while, but just never got around to watching. And that's the problem, is I watch so many films, I don't always watch the TV stuff that goes with it. You know, yeah, he's in 86. And Vicky McClure. I love Vicky McClure. I think she's class.
It's the Jordan Pickford kid was too old as well, so he obviously couldn't.
Thomas Turgoose. I like how they pretty much adopted him, didn't they? Steve Graham and Shane Meadows. I think Thomas Turgoose' mother passed away when they was filming. They was like, if we can't sort you out, we will adopt you. You'll come and live with us. Fair Foxton. Like that. It seems like it's a proper good community type thing when it comes to Shane Meadows' work. I feel like it is. He's got his community of actors and producers and stuff that he trusts and works with, and I like that in a director. That's why I like Edgar Wright and stuff, because he works with the same people, because he knows how to get the best out of them, and that's why I've always liked Shane Meadows. I think because he has the people he trusts, and he trusts them for a reason.
Yeah, and Nolan's just the big budget version of that.
Yeah, it does weirdly feel like quite a British thing. I mean, maybe it isn't, but it feels like it seems to be more prevalent in British movie and British pop culture than anywhere else.
Just we've got morals.
That's it. Your number 2, Stu.
Talking about things that don't have morals because they're cyborgs. Ghost in the Shell. The animated anime movie, not the one that was remade. Although I didn't hate that one, actually, to be fair. I thought
that was ScarJo, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought I watched that because I was obsessed with Ghost in the Shell back in the day. That in Akira, like, hand in hand. If you want it to be different, you want to be edgy. Yeah, I like anime, but I'm not a nerd. I like football as well. Everyone seemed to have the Ghost in the Shell VHS. Like everyone, like even people who didn't even like anything animated, or anyone who didn't like Pokemon, liked Ghost in the Shell. I don't know what it was. If it was just a Wensfield thing, I've no idea. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it if Goldie have seen Ghost in the Shell. It was just one of them films that just captured everyone. And when was it? 95. Yeah, so just as we're hitting secondary school. So you're talking about it in year 7, year 8, when it starts to go mainstream. And lad, you seen this thing? And you think back then what you're comparing it to? The thing I've mentioned before, Reboot, the first ever CG cartoon that was Canadian, apparently. It was actually mentioned on Constellation podcast. The actual thing about the Connects. So they had a whole animation topic, and they were talking about Reboot. I thought, yes, someone else has talked about it other than me. But yeah, they're completely opposite side of the spectrum, and traditional Japanese animation style. Ghost in the Shell just well, clues in the name, cyborg policewoman, hunting down things, and it's the whole, what is it to be human? It's been done to death, but it's not so much in this. It's more a case of, it's just vibes for, again, just under 90 minutes. And I love that film so much. It's one of them things I wish I don't know why I don't have it on Blu-ray, because in that kind of definition and the sharpness of the edges and stuff, you're just going to appreciate it all more and more. And I haven't seen it for a long time, and like with all remakes, it's a remake. I don't really care about the original source material. It's based on something.
Yeah.
They do change a few things, and obviously having Scarlett Johansson, who is very much not Asian, as the main star,
he says,
yeah, is a bit of an issue for some people. But if you take it as it is, it's a fine film.
Okay.
But it's, if you compare them side by side, the original is miles better. And you talk like 8.59 out of 10 animated film.
Oh wow, okay.
Absolutely superb.
It's interesting because like whenever we spoke about like the anime Ghibli world and stuff like that, I've never really got into it, and I've got the feeling that you're not massively into it either. So I'm quite surprised when you said that this was going to be on your list. I didn't realize it was a world that you had any knowledge of either, to be honest.
There's very few things like that just cross over. Like I could have put like my Neighbor Totoro on here as well.
Yeah,
which is a Ghibli film, which is fucking crazy.
I enjoyed that. Like, I've seen that one. I did quite enjoy that one.
But there's certain things like that just break the mold.
Yeah, and I'll transcend
a bit. Yeah, a bit like how, like this silly fucking Expedition 33 game has, where everyone's now wants to play turn-based RPGs, when no one's wanted to do that for the last 30 years, but because this wonderful French mad game, everyone wants to do it now.
These fucking hipsters, eh?
You know, I might play it next week just to spite him. Since Matt can't come on here every week, and he wants to give us challenges, then I will play Expedition 33 so he can come on and talk about it again. But yeah, every now and again there's one that breaks through and breaks the mold, and okay, I'll give it a go. And a bit like a certain Korean film from a couple of years ago, which I'd never normally watch, that we watched, and it was one of the best films of the year. Brilliant.
Parasite.
No, not Parasite. The Loved One.
Oh, Past Lives.
Exactly.
I'd never watch a film.
I'd never watch Past Lives, would I? Not once. No, you described that, and I've had no, not a chance in hell. Yet for some reason that week, it called to me, and I gave it a chance, and it was the best film of the year.
Beautiful. Yeah.
A
new film should be out in a couple of months. The reviews have been good. It's called Materialists, and our boy Pedro's in it. I can't fucking wait.
Nailed them, any
day one. Day one.
I think is that the one? No. I did see a trailer with Pedro in it, so it might have been that one, but I saw Pedro and looked down, so it probably was.
You don't like make eye contact with him, do you?
Yeah, and that's looking down at myself to see if I'm excited before anyone says it either. That's just the way it is. But yeah, Ghost in the Shell, top class.
I'm going to add that to my list because it's one that, because as I said, like not really being into that world, I've always avoided it. But like the Ring and endorsement you've given it, and Akira as well. That's worth a watch.
Akira, yeah, Akira.
Okay, I'll check them out. Akira kind of strikes me that it might be like Invincible.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Did you ever watch the Animatrix?
It rings a bell, but I can't quite picture it.
It was an anime. It was on DVD anyway. I don't know if it came to anything else later on, but it was a DVD of I think there's about 10 different stories, like based in the Matrix universe. But using
I've seen bits of it. a friend had it, and I never watched the whole thing. But yeah, I know what you mean.
They use different animation styles for each story, and one of them was based off, if not made by, the person who did Ghost in the Shell.
Okay. Sound. Right. For honorable mentions, Stu, I was just going to give you what my actual top 5 would have been. So not just the slightly more culty, obscure ones. My top 5 would have been South Park, in no particular order. South Park, Airplane, and the Naked Gun trilogy would have been in there as well. This is Spinal Tap, which we spoke about shitloads already. The Evil Dead trilogy, which again spoke about shitloads. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is the only one we probably haven't spoke about a lot before. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure would have been in there, and I fucking love that film. And I don't quite understand how we've never really delved into the Bill and Ted universe. I think Bogus Journey is probably probably the best of the 3, but I love Excellent Adventure. And I remember at school, kind of liking history off the back of it because of all the historical figures in it, and it was obviously very silly and nonsense, but I remember it just being kind of an inspiring film because it just felt so light and happy and a complete different world to kids' cinema at that time, I think. I properly love Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
We must have talked about it when the third one was coming out.
Maybe, but I don't really remember going into any depth with any of them, to be honest.
No, I think we mentioned it at best. I think we never went into detail about it. I remember going to Party Time Excellent and all that kind of stuff, and air guitar for no reason.
Yeah, and obviously, because that very much comes from that film. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole thing, they're just stealing from Doctor Who with the doors of the police box. Well, yeah, obviously they're taking the piss.
Yeah, obviously. That's the fucking joke, isn't it?
Again, they are Dude, Where's My Car before Dude, Where's My Car. Them films.
Absolutely.
They're wonderful.
Yeah. Proper, feel-good nonsense. Love it. I've got a couple of other honourable mentions that I couldn't fit onto my list. I've got 2 Christmas films, funnily enough, Stu. Muppets Christmas Carol. Goes without saying. Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is a wonderful Christmas slasher of a movie.
Oh, from a few years ago.
The girls. They remade it. The remake's not very good. The original Silent Night, Deadly Night, good film. I think it's Margot Kidder in the original. Child's Play is on the list, and The Limey, Terence Stamp. It's kind of like Get Carter.
Yeah,
and Terence Stamp plays like a right bastard. Really good. So those are my honourable mentions. Have you got anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I've got The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
There was a lot of it, like Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. They were both on there. The double bill of Blair Witch and Cloverfield, kind of same vibe. I couldn't believe I thought Cloverfield was a lot later than that, but it wasn't.
I thought that was 2008 or something.
Maybe that was wrong. Let me just check.
I've not checked. I thought it was later than that.
It was 2008, the first one. Yeah. Don't know why that was in. That was a mistake. That can go in next week.
But I mean, those 2 films are quite closely tied because they are both found footage movies, aren't they? So, genre-wise, that would be a good double bill, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the list that I saw it on, that there were 2 films together.
Okay.
Liar, Liar.
That's a good one. It's in that in years.
It was on
Jim Carrey.
It was on, as you'd expect, it was on ITV2.
Of course. It's always.
Yeah. So it seems to always be on ITV2.
Just did it.
And then we already mentioned all the airplane stuff. Yeah, I think that's why I left my number 1 as being my number 1. We'll come to that in a second.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 1 then, I think it's probably one of the most influential films on the US comedy scene in the 21st century. It's a film from 1999 called Office Space. It's written and directed by Mike Judge, the man who's responsible for Beavis and Butthead. He's the first man to give Kenny McCormack a voice in South Park the movie. And he was also the director of Silicon Valley. I'm sure you've seen Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So yeah, he's the guy behind that. This is a work-based comedy about a guy called Peter Gibbons who has pretty much given up. He no longer follows the rules as they're laid out, but somehow that ends up getting him a promotion within his job, whilst his try-hard colleagues both get laid off. And to get revenge, they set a plot to siphon off like pennies in every dollar. However, there's a massive error in the coding and they end up committing $1 million fraud. It's a film about like work dissatisfaction and corporate greed and personal fulfillment. The film has got like proper comedy stalwarts in as well. Ron Livingston, Gary Cole, John C. McGinley, Jennifer Aniston. Like there's a direct line that you can see between this film and then the other work of Greg Daniels and Mike Schur. So stuff like The Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'd even say like the mumblecore movement, which Mark Duplass helped with, stuff like Paddleton. I feel like it all sort of has its genesis in Office Space. It's proper. It's a really like, I'd say cult film is probably the best way to describe this movie, but it's got a legacy that expands well beyond. And it's another one that you probably know bits from it without knowing it.
Yeah.
So you'll have seen the scene where people are beating the shit out of a photocopier. Like they rock up with baseball bats to some serious music and then beat that. That's from this film. So again, there's memes and stuff that you'll know from this movie without probably knowing this movie. And I'd say it's the only good film anyone from Friends has done post Friends.
Is this post? Friends was still on.
Post the start of Friends.
Yeah, okay.
I think once Friends started, none of them really did anything that good in films.
Office,
because I think Ace Ventura was pre-Friends, wasn't it?
Scream was,
and obviously, yeah, Scream, yeah, it was. It was the same year, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll give you that one. Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
the best thing that Jennifer Aniston's done, though, hands down.
I mean, it's not a big body of work, is it?
It's not.
Although
it's not.
We've not seen the morning show, and everyone loves that thing. So I don't know.
I'll go out on a limb and say it's the best film that she's made.
Yeah. You said Ron Livingston is a comedy genius. He was in Band of Brothers as well. Deadly seriously.
Yeah, he's a very good actor. Actually, he can do a bit of everything. I obviously haven't seen that, but yeah.
Yeah, when you finally watch Band of Brothers, just the sheer amount of people that are in it, and even if they're in it for like one or two scenes because of how old it is now, yeah, everyone in that is astonishing, and he's got a very big part in it as well.
Okay,
considering all the other people who are the named actors in it, he's got a big role to play in that series.
Okay, I didn't realise that. Super. Right, Stu, what's your number one?
The film that changed everything, maybe. Probably not that big a thing to say, but I couldn't believe that Toy Story was under 90 minutes. I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah, it surprised me, that did.
I thought it was 100. I thought it was just over 90 minutes. For some reason, I was looking at it and I thought, well, I'm sure Toy Story 2 was. But obviously Toy Story is better than Toy Story 2 anyway, regardless. And we talked about it probably about once every 2 or 3 months for some reason or other. Just how it changed everything and how influential it was in everything. Toy Story 2 was 92 minutes, just for clarity. Yeah, it changed everything. Like, can you get A-list stars to do an animated film? Yes. Can you get A-list stars to do a CG animated film? What's a CG animated film? This is it. It just works, and it works still. Like 30 years later, it obviously looks dated now because you've got the Toy Story 4 and they're bastardizing, making it too real. But for what it was, in its own little world, Toy Story is an incredible film, and it always will be. And it's one of the rare 10 out of 10s for me.
I think I prefer 2, you know. I know it wouldn't work for this list, I should say. I think 2 edges it for me. But, I mean, it's like it's paper thin, the difference between them. They are, like, as a whole series, they are great. The fact that they're coming back for a 5th installment, and we're talking, like, 26 years later, and people are still excited, and it'll still do $1 billion. And, you know, people will still be turning out for this film when they're doing Toy Story 12. I think you are right. This is the film that started it. And the whole animated world, it does kind of feel like it's pre-Toy Story and post-Toy Story. They're 2 different worlds. And it kind of feels like if CG animation hadn't have come out with something so perfect, I wonder if it would have been as accepted. Because I kind of feel like the only CG stuff I remember seeing around that time, possibly before that, was stuff like the Transformers Beast Wars and like a few animated TV series, which never quite looked right. As a fan of traditional animation, watching CG looks a bit janky in parts, but Toy Story didn't. Toy Story looked perfect. And you are right, like it looks dated now because we are nearly 30 years removed, or potentially actually are 30 years removed at this point. But the story is still perfect. Like you can drop that to any kid anywhere in the world, and I think it's identifiable.
Yeah. The only thing that's missing from it now is obviously tablets and phones, but that's
that Toy
time
Story
and space thing. Yeah, exactly that. That is what it's going to be, isn't it? I mean, that's the only thing that makes any sense whatsoever.
I believe that the bad guy is the lily pad, which is
brilliant
thing.
Absolute class.
Yeah, I think that's what the bad guy is going to be in this one. Yeah.
Well, there we are. It's a perfect time capsule because we all had them Army Men things. We all destroyed them. We all threw them everywhere. We didn't burn toys with magnifying glasses. Well, not all of us anyway. But the ones of us who did have sisters did torment them and things like that. And you did go through the period of having cowboys and Indians figures and then going to Space Marines and all. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect for us anyway. Not so much for kids now because it's all different world, but for that era of kids, like 90, you could probably say up until 98, I guess. Kids who were 5 up until 98 and before, that was our childhood.
Yeah.
Everything after that, you ruined.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
yeah,
it kind of proves it. When we got back from, because we had 2 weeks off because I was in Crete. That's why we had 2 weeks off. Mingling with the foreigners. Did speak Spanish, did speak French to a couple of people, was very proud of myself. No fights, no incidents, no burnings, no skin falling off, all good. But when we got back, and we was like, yeah, we need to sort through Corey's toys. And he's like 8 now. So he was 8 before we went. So we got 3 of the big boxes from Ham Bargains, like 5 each or whatever they are.
Yeah.
You got 3 big boxes. You have them plastic towers with the drawers in. He had like a drawers full of like Pixar cars and one of Play-Doh and one of just miscellaneous shit. And the other drawer of like squishy things. So we sorted them all out into 3 big boxes of stuff. It's like, yeah, this can be chucked away. This can go to charity. And when you bag it up, I thought, you feel sorry for them, really, don't you? Why? They're fucking plastic. It's not real. It's not Toy Story.
Exactly. There isn't it. Like in the back of your, they will always come alive when you leave the room. Like that is never going to go away because of what we grew up with.
Yeah. And then you look at it and you think, yeah, he's not playing with these things. I said, well, if we leave them now, leave them in the big 3 boxes of stuff, his cars things and his track and everything, and his Play-Doh, and then his other stuff, give it a few months. When we get back in the summer, when we get back from Whitby, as per usual, if they're still there, then we'll put it on Marketplace. Some other kid can take them away, like what happened at the end of Toy Story 3. But that's what it is, because he'd rather play on his tablet. Like today, we went to the pub because it's Father's Day. So we went to the pub and he's like, "Oh, can I have my tablet now?" No, you can't have your tablet now. You can have a tablet later. So you can play with your cousins. So they were playing Top Trumps to start with. He never played Top Trumps. It never. It was what? It was Sonic Top Trumps as well.
Excellent.
So they're playing Sonic Top Trumps for about half hour. And then they were just playing hide and seek under the tables in the beer garden because there's no one there. So he didn't ask for it once. So yeah, it should be. Like, yes, this is the world of Toy Story, which is why it's the best film under 90 minutes long.
I can't argue with that. It's perfect. Where do you sit on The Lion King? Because that was another film that I saw mentioned a few times. Yeah. I think that sits in under 90, and obviously that's in the 90s. Where do you sit on that one?
On Pride Rock. I love The Lion King. I think I've probably just seen it too many times. I think that's the only problem with it. It would have been on here. You could any fair weather, any fair day, the wind blows, Lion King could be number one, Toy Story could be banished to the rest. I think Lion King is brilliant, and to be fair, I know this is actually, it is still in the 90 minutes course. It is. The 3D Blu-ray of Lion King is one of the best things I own. It should never ever work. For a hand-drawn animated feature like that to be in 3D, yet it's perfect. Especially the bit where Scar's jumping towards the camera. In 3D, chef's kiss, class.
Okay.
You wouldn't think it. Like, why is it even be converted into 3D? And I bought it by mistake, so I hadn't got it, and I thought, oh yes, okay, it says Lion King 3D, why not? And I just presumed it was going to be the green and red glasses thing, and it wasn't. It was proper real D motion glasses, whatever. And I put it, and it was brilliant. But yeah, which is why I haven't watched the real life monstrosity thing from a few years ago, because it can't be. It can't be as good as that, can it? It just can't be.
It's not.
I know it's its own thing anyway and whatever, but it just can't.
The emotion's not there. Like considering one is quote unquote real and the other one is animated. There's so much more life in the 2D animated than the dog shit thing that they put out. It's worlds apart, and it kind of ruined the Norseman. The Skarsgård film a few years ago. It was all right, but it was just The Lion King without the songs, so it wasn't as good. Like, it kind of ruined it because it just wasn't quite as good as that. But I love The Lion King. It was the first play I saw on Broadway. I found my ticket out the other day, $60. $60 I paid to see The Lion King, and I paid nearly fucking $300 last time I was there. Unbelievable. Yeah, what a fucking world. It's disgusting.
Hang on, $300 for a play.
I think I paid $230. Was it? I think I paid for maybe Happy Endings, and I think it was $215 for Hades Town. But other years, like when I saw Funny Girl, that was $270. So yeah, nearly $300. But Hamilton and stuff, that's going up from $300 minimum. George Clooney's play, which was this year, I'm sure I saw that tickets for like $600, and the one with Denzel and Jake Gyllenhaal, that was like $500-600 as well. Absolutely bonkers prices.
I mean, you'd want a different kind of happy ending if you have.
To be fair, I stopped off watching the Tony Awards last week. Like, I booked Monday off to stop and watch.
She did.
5 a.m. I went to bed. Darren Criss won Best Male. So Glee won again. and maybe happy endings won the best play of the year. And like, I cried. I was so fucking happy. I was proper delighted that they won. So I kind of hope it gets extended because I need to see it again because I was just mesmerised.
So you want a day off work to watch an award show for Broadway plays, wearing your dungarees with your ink pen, your coffee machine on.
At least it was a play that I'd seen. It wasn't just stopping it randomly. It's like, I need to because I need to support Glee. So yes, that's what it was all about. But yeah, it was worth it. It's the one good thing about like having a monarchy is I get a random free day off in the middle of the year. We get like the King's birthday as a civil servant. So it always used to be the Queen's birthday, but obviously the King now. So we have to have a day off by the end of May, the start of June. So I'm like, well, I may as well have it and watch the Tonys. So that was my Sunday night. Brilliant. Right, okay, quick break, and then we'll be back to do Looking Glass from 2018. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second part of the pod where we're talking about Nick Cage in Looking Glass from 2018. I don't know, have you ever seen Alice in Sunderland? So I think it's is it Maggie Grace who was in Lost, the blonde pretty one in Lost?
Yeah, I know.
She was in this film. I'm sure it was Alice in Sunderland that she was in, and it's basically Alice in Wonderland but in the real world. So I saw the poster of Looking Glass, and Looking Glass. I thought, oh, I wonder if this is going to be some kind of weird take on Alice in Wonderland as well, but in the real world. It kind of a little bit weird, and obviously looking. And it's fuck all to do with it. And I was kind of disappointed because it ended up being like, it's not a terrible film. It's a fucking boring movie, this one is, Stu.
As with all of these subpar things, it's got an idea there that could be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels about 4 hours long.
It was a struggle, wasn't it? Like, I had to pause it a few times because I was so bored. Just to pick up on one thing you just said. So, where is it? I've got it on Wikipedia. Okay, so you're right that there is an idea in this film. One of the some reviewers, Craig Lindsay from the Los Angeles Times, noted the similarity of the motel setup to the case of Gerald Foos, a former motel owner in Colorado who had modified his motel to allow him to spy on most of the rooms. This is documented in a New Yorker article called The Voyeur's Motel. And there is an audio piece on YouTube of him reading this piece from the New Yorker. So it seems like they've pretty much lifted this idea from real world events to, some extent.
When was this?
So The Voyeur's Motel is an article from 2016, but I think the actual case is from way before. I can't actually see when the events actually happened, but this, but the actual thing was, the article was 2016. It sounds like they're trying to make a film. Sam Mendes was linked. Steven Spielberg purchased the rights to this guy's life, but I don't think a film's actually been made at this point, by the looks of it. Oh, hang on. A documentary by Miles Caine and Josh Curry was released on Netflix on December 1st, 2017, called Voyeur.
I've seen it.
It does feel like
that's what I've seen.
It's something out there. So it's not particularly original, which is kind of weird because it's boring as shit. Like I don't really understand how it got made, because let's get from the start and let's go back a bit. Right, so it's a psychological thriller starring Nick Cage. The film follows Nick Cage's Ray and his wife Maggie. They're a grieving couple following the death of their child. They buy a remote motel. Weird things start to happen. Nick Cage finds a passageway which leads to a one-way mirror in room number 10. They find out about a series of murders and disturbing events unfolding around the hotel. The local sheriff grows suspicious. Ray realizes the motel has a dark past. As tensions rise, Ray must uncover the truth before he and Maggie become the next victims. That's a lot of words, and that's probably more than this film deserved, because it felt like everything that happened in this movie, none of it felt particularly joined up. Like, we found out there was a murder, someone threw a pig in the pool and did some graffiti, and the guy who ran the petrol station over the road was a bit of a weird nonce. And the locals were oddballs, but none of it felt like it was pieced together. It all felt like it was just different strands that were going along, and there was no joining point. It just wasn't exciting. And even finding the actual one-way mirror doesn't come into play until the very end when he uses it to jump through. It just kind of felt a bit lazy, if I'm honest.
All I could think of,
they maybe had one idea.
Yeah.
They had that idea of, I want to see Nick Cage jumping through a fucking one-way mirror. And they built back from there. That's almost what it felt like to me.
I mean, as soon as the pig was in the water, I thought, when did he make pig compared to this? That's where my mind was kind of going, because it was so dull. Like the whole thing about the fact that they were a couple, that didn't work for me. No.
I was confused because when I saw her, I thought she's going to call him daddy, and I don't know if it's going to be a sex thing or he's actually her dad, because the age gap looked too much. It looks
too much,
unreasonable. There's like 9 years between them, so it's not that bad, but it looked a lot, because Cage looks a lot older than he is at this point. She looks a fair bit younger.
Yeah, and then the fact that it was like the whole thing about why was it pulled out so far? Like the stuff, and why do we have this terrible 70s logo thing where it comes towards the camera for? Didn't make any sense.
I don't know. That opening, I didn't understand the opening, because it was a good 20 minutes before they got out the car and did anything. There was a lot of driving, not much talking, and then more driving and more driving, and then they got to where they were going. I don't understand what you're doing. Are you just wasting your actual runtime here?
And you're the bit where, because I thought I'd fell asleep, because it goes from they're in the car and she's like, have a break, and then they're back in the car again, and then it cuts, and then he's talking to the guy on the phone, and he's talking about something. I thought, hang on a minute, what was he talking about? And so I rewound.
If I missed something, yeah.
This was literally 5 minutes into the film.
Yeah,
it already didn't make any sense. I was like, oh, okay, it's just one of these things that's to be unveiled later on. Again, we didn't see that guy ever again. Never mentioned. Well, he was mentioned, never seen. It was just very odd. Well, like you said, the non-side of the road, the revolving cast of characters, and the strange cop coming in with the coffee. Like, okay. I not even reading the synopsis and you just saying that, yeah, this is the film we watch in the next 2 weeks. I thought, okay. And I just looked through. I thought, oh well. As soon as he saw the fit blonde, I thought, well, he's going to have an affair with her, isn't he?
I thought that's my first thought,
because he's perving on her, the way he's looking after her, and I think, yeah, this is how this is going to go. And then it didn't. And then it turns out she's like a lesbian dominatrix, which is always fun. And he's standing up.
The lesbian dominatrix bit, they tried to. So there's a murder in the motel, and I think they want us to think that she might be responsible for it because she's this domineering woman. And to show that, they show her show her wrapping a bed sheet around a woman's neck. But like, there's clearly a gap between it. I'm like, if you're going to choke a bitch, do practically. And no,
it's everyone.
But at no point did they make any of it look particularly sordid. Like, none of it was sexy or anything. It was a bit lame. I think, if you're going to do it, you've got to go full force. And I don't feel like they did with this film at all.
It's gone hot though. I did think the first, the first time where they show the first murder and they're wearing all black, and then it cut back to him. I thought, hang on, has he got like split personality and he doesn't know that he's killing people? That was as interesting as this got.
Yeah, that would have been something at least, even though as far as we're aware, this is like the fucking second time he's ever been at that motel. So it would have been weird, but that would have been something. I looked at what themes were explored in this film, and it says it explores voyeurism, guilt, and paranoia, questioning the morality of surveillance and obsession. It delves into grief and trauma, showing how loss can drive people to irrational behaviour. I don't think that's true.
No.
I don't think it explored any of that. We find out that they buy this motel following the death of their daughter, and that he was an alcoholic, possibly philanderer, and she was a druggie who might have been strung out when the daughter died. And that's as far as we ever really got. Like, I don't feel like there was any real grief on show whatsoever in this. There's no sense of loss at all coming from either of them.
Thankfully haven't. But these two people do not look like they've lost anyone. They don't even look like they've lost a pet. They're all over each other straight away. Or you think, well,
too flirty and playful throughout for someone who is supposed to be going through crisis.
Like usually in these situations, like one blames the other, and then they'll blame themselves, and then they'll not blame themselves, and then they'll blame the other, but won't say they'll blame the other. And it's all a bit tense and a bit all up in the air. And especially if you've got drugs and drink involved, which is implied and spoken about in this film. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, our daughter's dead, let's fuck each other. That's what it is.
Yeah. They had like a 30-second argument towards the end, at the start of the third act. They have like a little bit of a tiff. And then it's kind of skated over. But they don't actually explore any of the themes that are going on in this film. Like, they hint that there are themes, but I don't feel like it explores anything.
No.
It says the motel itself symbolizes secrets and hidden truths, reflecting the character's internal struggles. And again, I don't think it does that. There's no depth whatsoever to any of this. It's such a shallow reading of what is going on. I just thought it's such a poor movie in those terms.
Yeah, that's a film school answer to something that doesn't exist.
It is, yeah. So for the good, I like the setting. I do think there is a good film that can be made in this type of setting, and I think the answer to a later question we've got coming up might be the good answer to that film. It kind of reminded me of stuff like Psycho and Rear Window as well, that voyeurism. I kind of like the inferences that they make, but they're just inferring better films.
Yeah.
So maybe I just like better films than this is the good. Have you got anything at all that you particularly enjoyed in this one?
I mean, the idea, that's about it. And I mean, you've already mentioned it, the whole thing about him. I thought it was going to go when I realized that he wasn't the murderer. Spoilers. When I realized he wasn't the murderer, I thought he was going to go insane. I thought he was going to get obsessed with the mirror, and he's going to get any fit win whatsoever in there, and he was going to wank himself to death or something like that, or he was going to end up putting someone in there who he couldn't control himself over. I thought that's where it was going to go.
Yeah, I expected it to be a bit more psychosexual than it was.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get proper grin. But in the end, the end was fucking awful. Absolutely diabolically bad. The fact that it says the end as well.
That doesn't help, does it? I thought like the reveal of the killer, like it wasn't. As soon as we knew that it was a dead girl, they sort of signposted who the killer was pretty much straight away. So I didn't think the reveal particularly worked in that movie at all. And the end did feel a bit flat because it wasn't much of a shock when we got to see it. And I kind of feel like the killer could just have been, I should say, it could have been Nick Cage went crazy because of the mirror. Yeah. And that's what the previous owner did. They could have had it where it was not the motel was haunted, but the motel drove people insane because of what was available to them. And that would have been more interesting than it just ended up being, he killed her, and we're trying to find it out. That's all it was in the end. It was just such a paint by numbers ending. to what was a bit of a meandering walk. Had it not have ended on such a down note, it could have made the rest of it a little bit more palatable. And it just wasn't. It just made it even worse in retrospect, I thought.
Yeah. And that whole, like, we've seen copious amounts of films with people looking through like spy holes and I was going to say glory holes then, but I mean even that would have been a nice twist. But that kind of thing of the motel trope and everything like that, like you can't trust it and check everywhere. And missed opportunity more than anything else. So the good was just the idea. I don't think there was anything really. It's one that I will definitely never in my life watch again.
No, definitely not. Bad. I've got, so the killer I thought was obvious. It wasn't a particularly coherent movie. Like, they could have done something hot fuzzy when we met a few of the outsiders. Like, they could have been the locals doing things for the greater good, taking out the crusty jugglers. But like, they never really saw that through, and like that felt like again another missed opportunity. Strawberry Blonde was a bit weird. Like the fight scene in the pool hall with Nick Cage hitting the guy. Like, just all of it was just a bit flat. 2018, this film, Stu. This does not feel like a film that is that recent. Especially 2018, we're looking at the bigger films tend to be a bit more sci-fi based. We've got Avengers coming out at that point. We've got Jurassic World. Like, I bet some of the big hitters at that point aren't neo-noir indie films like this. It feels like it's a little bit out of time in those senses. This feels like it would have fit in perfectly in the 2003, maybe. Like, it's got that feel to it. I think it doesn't feel.
Yeah, I had like Underworld vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're talking like early to mid 2000s,
yeah,
I'd be quite happy with it being placed then. So when I saw that it was 2018, I was a bit shocked at that one.
Yeah, like if his wife had black hair in a kind of Kate Beckinsale way, you wouldn't have been shocked.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything crazy?
Not really. It was too boring to be crazy, really. And the whole peak thing I thought was bizarre, and like the whole thing about the locked chain and not having the key. Like, where's the key? I thought, okay, that's a bit weird. But now there's nothing crazy to talk about in a Nicolas Cage film. It's a bit disappointing.
I've got something crazy, but I'll get to that in a minute because that'll be coming up. Right. Did you enjoy it? I've got no, it was boring.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Nothing more.
It wasn't boring to the fact that I fell asleep, which has happened a few weeks ago. But the fact that I thought I'd fell asleep kind of says it all, really.
Yeah, just a bit, doesn't it? Cage good, Cage bad. What do you reckon?
He could have been anyone, couldn't he? Could it?
Yeah.
Could he have been George Reinhold? Yes, he could. So even then, playing by numbers didn't do anything. Probably wasn't helped, but there was no way you could even like cageify this up because there was nothing to work with there. So what are you gonna do? I think he was bang average. So in the question, bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm just looking at his run of films around this period of time. I think there's a bit of a trend going on here. So we're looking at 2018. So if we look at, let's go from 2017. We haven't watched Arsenal yet, have we? Or maybe we have and I've just forgot. Who knows? Vengeance, a Love Story, Inconceivable, Mom and Dad, I think was a decent performance. Humanity Bureau, Mandy was something. Then Looking Glass, 211. Between Worlds, Spider-Verse, A Score to Settle, Colour Out of Space. That's 2017 to 2019. That's a lot of films in a relatively short period of time. He's got 6 films alone out in 2018. He's very thinly spread at this point. That is too much work for an actor to be doing, for him to be giving his all in every performance. So we're going to get 211 in the Humanity Bureau where he's just phoning it in. And this is one of those films. He just phoned it in. Right, Stu, complete the sentence. If you liked Looking Glass, you may also like.
I mean, you already mentioned the obvious one, the Psycho. Anything hotel based? Actually, not Psycho, Bates Motel, the series, which is better than this.
You know, I watched the very first episode and thought it was okay, but they had mobile phones and it put me off.
Yeah,
I wanted it to be a prequel to Psycho, and it wasn't. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, so I just didn't give it a chance.
Yeah,
maybe I should give it a chance. To be fair,
yeah, it's not a prequel to the film in the timeline. It's just a prequel to what that film could be. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's what threw me with it. Right, so my answer to it is the crazy of this film. There were 2 films in 2018 that were set in a motel with like 2-way mirrors and stuff. So the film that I'm going to say is Bad Times at the El Royale. It's a neo-noir thriller that is set in a rundown motel. It's on the California-Nevada border. It's got 7 strangers. There's a priest, a singer, a vacuum salesman, and a hippie. They all arrive at this motel, hiding dark secrets. As the night unfolds, the guests discover that the hotel has hidden corridor with spying on rooms, and its lone employee is tormented by his past as a Vietnam War sniper. It's about morality and redemption and surveillance. Like, this film is actually about stuff. Like, it's a bit long. It's probably like about 220, I think, but it's not a great film, but it's a good film. It explores what this film claimed it explores, but better. And John Hamm's in it, and I love John Hamm, so that's great. It's got really good cinematography, good performances, the soundtrack, bang on. It's quite like Tarantino-esque in parts as well. So yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale is my pick if you need something a bit like this, but actually not shit. Right, okay, so that's another Nick Cage in the record books. Next week, we're going to be watching The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Stu.
yes.
Is this based on a book? I don't know anything about The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yes.
Right, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, he plays Balthazar, 2010 film. A protege of the magician Merlin must train his teacher's successor, an introverted but resourceful physics prodigy, in the art of sorcery to prevent the return of Morgana Le Fay. I mean, actually, you know what? Nick Cage, Jay Baruchel, Alfred Molina, Toby Kebbell, that's another regular of Shane Meadows, Monica Bellucci, Omar Benson Miller. It's a good cast. You know, I don't know anything about this film. Kind of looking forward to it.
It was very
Can't
much.
be any fucking worse.
I have seen this film before.
Okay.
It was very much in the whole Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, let's get fantasy shit out as soon as possible kind of vibe.
Right. I vaguely remember they had stuff like this and Percy Jackson and the Arthurian one with, is it Aragon, the one with the dragons? And
yeah,
it feels like it's very much part of that period of time.
And the Uwe Boll film as well.
Oh God,
What the one with Statham?
Oh, the one where he plays, is it Farmer? Like, they don't give a name. It's just this fucking job. God, that film's terrible.
Cool.
I can't. Uwe Boll, Jason Statham. In the Name of the King.
In the Name of the King, yeah. Something nailed.
Date. God, that film was terrible. Goes on to fucking days as well. 2 hours, 7 minutes, but it felt like the longest film I've ever seen. You know, Lily Sobieski's in it, and I genuinely think she only does terrible films because she was also in Nick Cage's The Wicker Man as well. Oh, that's good. This film's done John Turteltaub, who was the director of Cool Runnings While You Were Sleeping, National Treasure. It's like we know that he can get something out of Nick Cage. I'm quite looking forward to this one, Stu.
I remember really enjoying it and just being like, you'd think this is going to be the start of a franchise, and it never was.
Never picked up. Interesting. Yeah, I know nothing about it. I'm kind of liking the wig that he's rocking in this one. I'm sure I had that haircut at some point. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be next week's movie. And as Stu said, we'll be looking at sub 90-minute films, but that'll be post 2000. Let's do 2000 to 2019. So we're looking at 20-year period. And we'll revise 2020 to 2039 in 2040. Yeah, let's do that. Lovely. Right, okay. Make sure you go on whatever podcatcher you listen to us on, and a 5-star review would be phenomenal. Socials at Cage Fighting Pod. Any emails you've got, send them to cagefightingpod@gmail.com. Let us know what your favourite sub 90-minute films are, and we'll give you a shout out next time out. Stu, for this week, do you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone. We are back.
Here's goodbye from me too. And remember, be excellent to each other.